Welcome back, it's Erica. You probably know this already, but I spend a lot of time thinking about money. I'd be a bad personal finance YouTuber if I didn't. I remember when I was younger, I hardly ever thought about money. I just wanted to be a doctor and help save people. I became a lawyer instead after I realized I wasn't smart enough to become a doctor, but that's a whole different story for another video. Money didn't come into the equation at all. I kept racking up all of these student loans to pay for my education. But after I graduated, I realized that I had to change my relationship with money or face a lifelong partnership with debt. After I paid off my debt, I became even more obsessed with the concept of having multiple income streams, from active side hustles to passive income ideas like investing and digital products. So because I spend a lot of time thinking about money, I decided to look up how much you should have saved up by age. Because it's human nature, we're curious about things and we like to compare. Now before I get into it, give yourself a pat on the back if you have more than $1,000 in savings. In a survey by Bankrate, fewer than 4 in 10 Americans could pay a surprise $1,000 bill from savings, such as if their car broke down or their home flooded. Instead of being able to pay for their emergency with cash in hand, over 1/3 of the respondents said that they would have to put the expense on a credit card or take out a loan. The Federal Reserve also notes that 39% of all Americans don't have enough cash in savings to cover even a $400 emergency. To make matters worse, from Northwestern Mutual's 2020 Planning and Progress Survey, 9% of Americans have no personal savings at all. Also give yourself another pat on the back because I'm pretty sure you're doing better than I was, and if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Just a few years ago, at age 26, I had a negative net worth, and not just a little negative, $200,000 negative, because that's actually how much I took out in student loans in order to go to law school. And a quick disclaimer, average savings by age is a really tough metric because there are just so many variables that go into a number like that, and every situation is going to be different. But I know you're curious, so without further ado, let's get into it. First, let's go with those 35 and younger because this is such a large age bracket and the financial incomes vary considerably, as you've got teenagers who've just graduated high school, recent college grads, young professionals, and successful entrepreneurs. Because there's over a decade's worth of work, it's tough to nail down age by age where the average may be. But for this category, Americans under the age of 35 had an average savings account balance of $11,200. And most importantly, during this time, they also hit the subscribe and like button at least once. But don't worry if you're nowhere near that. Like I mentioned before, averages can skew the information because some of the top few people are making bank while the majority of us just get by. So in this case, it's better to look at the median. And the median is $3,200. If you fall into this category, experts typically recommend having 3 to 6 months of expenses in your emergency account. I'm actually more risk averse, and if the last year has taught us anything, it's that we need to be prepared for the worst case scenarios. So I personally like to have 9 months worth of expenses, or actually more than that, in my emergency fund. In case that's not feasible, then at the very least, aim for having $1,000 handy in a savings account just in case. This is also a great time while you're young to start thinking about a retirement account, perhaps an employer-sponsored retirement fund like an IRA or a 401k, because of the power of compound interest. If your employer offers a match, that's free money that you don't want to miss out on. So at minimum, consider contributing whatever amount the company will match. And in case you're curious, the average 401k savings for someone between the ages of 20 to 29 was $15,000 as of the fourth quarter of 2020, according to data from Fidelity's retirement platform. Next up, if you're between 35 to 44, then this one's for you. The Federal Reserve study in 2019 found that Americans between the ages of 35 to 44 had an average savings account balance of $27,900. If you haven't already, this may also be the time to start thinking about diversifying a financial portfolio and potentially investing in the stock market or in real estate. Luckily, it's never been easier to start investing. You can go with Webull or SoFi Invest or the TD Ameritrade platforms. There's so many choices out there, and you don't need to call your stockbrokers to place orders to buy and sell. You can do it yourself. Everything is done through these apps. And a personal favorite of mine is Webull because they offer 2 free stocks to anyone who signs up. You can check the link in my description for that. And again, for reference, the average 401k balance for people between the ages of 30 to 39 is $50,800. Now let's see Americans between the ages of 45 to 54. They had an average savings account balance of $48,200. At this point, experts say that a 50-year-old should have at least 6 times their annual salary if their intention is to retire at 67. But this can be smaller if you have a pension or a more minimalist lifestyle. Because if your hobby is buying supercars, you're going to need a little more saved up than someone who likes hiking on weekends. And by the age of 40 to 49, a person may want to hit the average 401k balance, which sits at $93,400, which looks like this. This is over double the savings of people without a Roth. Next, Americans between the ages of 55 to 64 had an average savings account balance of $57,800. This is the time when most Americans are staring down retirement in a few years, so it's a really good idea to kick up savings, specifically retirement savings, into high gear. That's because while younger people's 401k amount is capped at $19,500 a year, those over the age of 50 can contribute an additional $6,500. This is called a catch-up contribution. The average 401k account for a person between the ages of 50 to 59 in 2019 was $160,000. And last but not least, we have Americans aged 65 and over. They had an average savings account balance of $60,400. But that number gradually drops over time. Because what's the point of saving for retirement and not having a little bit of fun? Americans above the age of 75 had an average savings account balance of $55,600. So they've spent this already. What that drop means is that it's all the more important to create a retirement budget and stick to it to ensure that you have enough savings for as long as a person needs it. But before retirement, try to hit the average 401k balance for those aged 60 to 69, which is $182,100. Okay, so I hope I haven't overloaded you with facts and instead motivated you to start saving some money. Because no matter where you are at this moment, there's always time to start saving. For most of us with a steady income, money keeps replenishing itself every month or even weekly if you're lucky. And the rewards which come from savings are exponential. So if you save a little this month, it'll go a long way for you in the future, especially if instead of just sitting in a bank account, you're investing those savings. And you can always dial back the savings when times are tough. All right, thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next video, and don't forget to click the subscribe and hit the like button, and grab your 2 free stocks from Webull clicking the link in my description below. Have a great day.